Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffery Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Welcome to 3 for Tuesday. It is a 3 for Tuesday for the first time in the history of my career because at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I will be hosting this Zoom, and there still is time to register. So welcome, everyone. It is my privilege and pleasure to be here with you on Tuesday afternoon, Facebook Live. I'm going to breathe, release, and let go. So good to see everyone here this afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go. Lynette, how are you this afternoon? Good to connect with you. Jeffrey Feldman, good to connect with you. Good to connect with every one of you. It is 3 for Tuesday. That is, as I said, this is the first time that this has ever happened. A 3 for Tuesday means a 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Facebook Live, a 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Healing and Recovery from Narcissistic Personalities. That will be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then at midnight, which is 12 p.m. Eastern, or 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 o'clock Pacific, I will host my 2 for Tuesday. So welcome, everyone. It's good to be here with you. There is still time to sign up for this course. It is $97. It is a 4 Zoom calls, 4 half hours over an 8-week period. 1 half hour every 2 weeks on healing and recovery from narcissistic personalities. And here is the syllabus for tonight's Facebook Live. So if you still would like to sign up for that, you can sign up to it to the last minute. That will be at 5. I'm going to cut it off at 5:45. That would be 8:45. That way my assistant, Henry Klauke, can get you the content so you can watch the Zoom. It is recorded, and it comes with downloads for it has a syllabus for every Zoom. So looking forward to having you on there. Today's Facebook Live is on letting go of silent suffering. We as a society tend to hold on to our feelings. We tend to stuff our feelings. We repress our feelings. We suppress our feelings. For those of you who have been following along and reading been reading the book Letting Go, on page 11 on David Hawkins' content, he covers repressed and suppressed feelings. Repressed feelings are the feelings that we bury alive. These are the feelings that we forget about. They are due to deep traumas. So, Tony, good to see you this afternoon. So they are deep traumas that we hold on to and we forget about them. And then we end up saying, I had a great childhood, or I don't remember my childhood, or my whole childhood was a blur, or I don't remember anything before the 3rd grade, or I don't remember anything before age 10. It's a very common commonality that affects many people who are traumatized, violated, abused, neglected, a multitude of situations, which creates the fight or flight mechanism, which creates not good enough feelings, and then leads to anxiety, fear, and doubt, based on a series of emotions of anger, hate, resentment, guilt, shame, abandonment, rejection, overwhelmed feelings, grief, apathy, and pride. And in a job, we're often able to mask some of those feelings. We're able to, at times, even perform admirably in a job. And in that job, we can actually rise to the occasion while living in stuffed and repressed feelings, and we are able to operate in it. Sometimes people excel and do very, very well. And that term is called confidence. So we can have confidence up here and still have low self-esteem down here. So self-esteem is how I feel about myself, and that would be how you feel about yourself. I want to take the moment to say hello to all my world-class and exceptional clients. I saw Effie. I want to say hello to Caroline, Tony, Bob, Jennifer, and anyone else, and Lynette, who I have not acknowledged. Thank you so much for being here this afternoon. Truly an honor to be here with you on 3 for Tuesday. I mean, I'm doing 3 events here today that on any one of the 3 you can plug into. So Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. That's the name of a book that I own. And what happens, many people hold on to these feelings, then they manifest into anxieties, fear, and doubts. Oftentimes the body can break down in mind-body connections, MS, cancer, hyperthyroidism, thyroid challenges, gut issues, prostate issues, bladder issues, malady of situations that happens because of feelings that we hold on to that are stuffed. And then if you own a business, it also shows up. It can create avoidance tendencies. It's a good intention with a poor delivery. It's that whole syndrome of tomorrow I'm going to do it. Tomorrow I'm going to do it. And then tomorrow never really comes. And it just shows up in taxes. It shows up in situations we hold on to, clutter, chaos, and drama. Shows up in the garage, the closets, the drawers, a multitude of situations because we are holding on to silent suffering. And we don't feel good enough. We don't have a system. We don't have a routine. And we do not have a method. And then we are winging it. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of people do. And you have definitely suffered enough. So here's the syllabus for today's call. I wrote this out. And then I also emailed this to you if you were on my email list so you can have this content. And so I do 7 bullet points for every Facebook Live I do at 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So step 1 is here's what you'll discover in today's Facebook Live, is that stored stuff pain manifests itself. So those are called mind-body connections. And in Hawkins' content on letting go, he has a chapter on taking the body out of the way so the body can heal itself. It means taking your ego out of the equation, the silent suffering, letting go of the long held on, stuffed, stored feelings that creates the dis-ease in the body and then the inflammation, inflamed. So inflammation comes from inflamed family environment. And if you grow up in a family where there was violence, where there was alcoholism, where there were men and women coming and going, and you had multiple sets of parents. You had a stepfather and a stepmother and a mother and a father. That equals 4. Or I have coached people who have multiple men going in and out of the house and or multiple women. So whatever the situation is, and it creates a lot of uncomfortability, unpredictability, overwhelmed feelings, which leads to fight or flight, anxiety, fear, and doubt. And this has such a huge effect on you when the pain is great enough and you want to let go of a job and you want to step into a business, and then you find yourself getting ready to get ready. You find yourself procrastinating, and yet you have these great products, you have these great services, benefits, and features, and then you see all these other cool people around you that are making it, and your ego is going, everyone else is succeeding to me. Well, it's not quite that way. I mean, everybody else is everybody else, and everyone else is doing what everybody else is doing. And this is why it's important that in your recovery, your sobriety, your consciousness, and then your own journey to success, not to compare yourself to someone else, because we don't know what they've been through. For instance, Jeff Beebe and his wife, Debbie, I have had the privilege of knowing them for 11 years, and they became top-tier income earners in their company. They became top 50, top 25, top-tier income earners in a almost billion-dollar company. But they were not overnight successes. They went through that process. They became top-tier leaders in their company. They're recognized. They've walked the stages on multiple occasions, but it came with a price. They paid the price, and they continue to pay the price. They're still in the business, going on 11 years at least. So, I mean, and they're still learning and growing. And that's what is important, that all of you understand that it's not an end game. The game is to be in it and stay in it. And you continue to improve daily if you're committed. Now, your body will relapse frequently if you're holding on to stored pain. And if you're holding on to unresolved anger, unresolved pain, your body will flex and flinch. You're going to inflammation. You're going to dis-ease. You want to stuff your feelings with a slice of pizza. You want to stuff your feelings with a shot of Dewar's. That's a Scotch, an 8-year-old. Or a 12-year-old Glenlivet, Glenfiddich. Or you want to stuff your feelings with some compulsive buying. You want some instant gratification. The ego wants something to take the edge off. Amy Gant, so good to see you. I've known Amy for going on 12 plus years also. Aaron, good to see you this afternoon. The topic for today's Facebook Live is silent suffering. And for those of you who are in recovery, a lot of your addictions were based on those stuffed feelings that we would get so pissed off at. We try and mask it with niceness on the outside. On the inside, we would be just absolutely churning and burning. In a rage, in resentment, in anger, we'd be pissed off. We'd have men and women show up and violate us. And we would just keep saying, why does this happen to me? How does this happen? We'd attract perpetrators and violators. And when you hold on to these stuffed feelings, it shows up in business. You end up having a team of pretty little pets who never produce much. And then you look around and you're not producing much because you're holding on to these feelings of not being good enough. Unequivocally, everyone can change. And I've watched and witnessed many of you do this. And I've watched many of you in this process. You're starting to grasp what is required of you daily, one day at a time, to be able to let go, to separate the feelings from the events that shape them. When you're holding on to stuffed feelings, the ones you know about anyway, these are the feelings that you hold a grudge. These are the feelings that you're in resentment. These are the feelings that you're personalized about yourself. And these are the feelings that are the most debilitating to our health-wise, because these are the ones that just eat away at our soul. These are the ones that cause cancer, MS, bladder issues, prostate issues, because it creates inflammation and dis-ease. And the inflammation is what leads to swelled organs and other multitudes of situations that affect us neurologically and emotionally. And the more you have a better understanding of what a mind-body connection is, it means that you've attracted this dis-ease because of the feelings that you hold on to. And it's amazing how the body is able to heal with certain supplements, naturopathic supplements and functional medicine in other situations. And the body can also heal on its own when you put yourself in the right emotional mindset. As you begin to let go of cause and effect, the feelings that you hold on to. When you are no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. As you're in that separation stage, means you're an objective viewer in the stage of your life, and you're watching what happened to you as an objective viewer without personalizing it. And then that means that you're also letting go of the people that you hold responsible for your feelings, or the grudge or the resentment you hold on to, or the men and the women that left you, abandoned you, took advantage of you, gaslighted you, ghosted you, cheated, whatever these people did. It's no longer, they did it to me, they did it. And that becomes the separation and those stuffed stored feelings. I see so many people get into businesses and they start complaining about the business. Well, this person didn't do that for me, and I'm not in the right place in this situation, and I'm not getting the leads that they're getting, and they have a better pay plan than I have. And so this is the chronic complaining that many people do, rather than manning up, womaning up, looking at the whole package, realizing that I'm in the right place at the right time, I'm fully responsible for my success, and not blaming, shaming, or guilting someone else. And once again, when you're able to let go of that silent suffering that the ego craves silent suffering to create its own resentment. And when you resent yourself and you resent others, it just eats away at the soul. It's cancer of the soul. And as you recognize this, it becomes liberating to let go and be responsible. Means ability to respond. You're able to respond to the stimulus and understand you are in the right place at the right time. The situation does have great product, service, benefits, and features. The grass is not greener over there. I am fully responsible for who I am, what I'm doing, and who I'm being. In that state of energy, it's very liberating, because it's like the golden handcuffs come off. The handcuffs that have kept you bound to trauma bonds and panic patterns and feelings of not being good enough. As you begin to separate those feelings, so that means, when someone contacts you from your past, instead of going into fight or flight, you're able to step right into the conversation, neutralize anyone who's attempting to put you in a position to feel guilty or feel shame, or whatever these people do. You're able to neutralize them very, very effectively, very easily. At 9 p.m. this evening, I'm going to host this call right here, Healing and Recovering for Narcissistic Personalities. It's a 4-part Zoom. I've been studying this content for a number of years. I've coached many people that are in the most traumatic relationships, that are in trauma bonds, that are not, they don't have the ability at the present to be able to take themselves out and remove themselves from the equation, and they stay in these relationships that are very toxic, and then they recreate the relationships in businesses and their future relationships to fulfill the feelings, because the events that they stuff and silently suffer in, or the events that they're very angry in, they don't let go of. And it's very liberating once you understand that letting go is an option, letting go is a skill, letting go is a reality and letting go is a mechanism. And as you begin that process, it's like this. It's like, voila. You begin to change who and what you attract. It's not magic. It's science. And the more you understand that the key to changing who and what you attract is to change the way you feel about yourself, is to change the communication that you're communicating into the universe. You start to monitor your self-talk, and you start to change your breath cycle. I coached a woman just recently who actually had challenges breathing. She had challenges accessing her abdominal breath because of how much trauma she'd been holding on to her whole life. And this is not uncommon. Even though it seems so simplistic to breathe, release, and let go, many people have been holding on to their stuffed feelings and their stored pain for so many years that the possibility of letting it go seems so unnatural that the ego wants to hold on to it. So the ego screams, no, you can't leave me. And I asked someone today who was visiting relatives who was telling me how horrible it is. And I said, well, why are you there? And the standard answer is, well, they're my relatives. I said, I understand that. But that's like me asking you, why did you go back to that bar that you stopped drinking in? Well, I used to go there. Well, that's understandable, but that's not the recipe to sobriety. The recipe to emotional sobriety is having clearly defined boundaries on who you let in your life. The recipe to sobriety is not feeling selfish for taking care of yourself. And the recipe to sobriety is one day at a time, letting go of the feelings that you stuff and repress that you've been holding on to all of these years. So I want to take a moment to recognize former clients and exceptional people. I want to say hello to Becky, Tracy, Nestor, Myrna, how are you? Pat, so good to see you. I'm honored that you would join me here on Tuesday, 3-4 Tuesday. Today's a unique day, 3-4 Tuesday. So I have a Facebook Live at 4 o'clock. I have a Zoom on recovering from narcissistic personalities at 9, and then midnight Eastern Standard Time. I also have my Facebook Live. The content that I'm covering with you is game-changing. It's life-changing. I know because I went through it myself. I let go of I let go of the shame, and it is a process of being a drug addict, alcoholic, drug dealer, thief, pathological liar, serial cheater, and going to jail for my transactions. The shame, I used to say to myself, how am I ever going to get over this? Well, lying was not the recipe. So as in truth versus falsehood, as I started to tell the truth, access the truth, stop lying, and started to be rigorous, honest, who and what I changed, who and what I attracted changed. As I let go of the shame of these horrible things I'd done to myself, to others, as I started to address cause and effect, as I started to work the 12-step program and make amends, ask for forgiveness, I found that some of the people that I thought would hate me forever, I was just making up a story. I was just lying to myself to fulfill my own feelings of not being good enough, not being worthy, and having very, very low self-esteem. And also the all or nothing situation that I lived in, I was all or nothing, black or white, good and bad, right and wrong. And that whole duality model, it does not serve us when it comes to energy and comes to transcending consciousness. Because when we hold on to anxiety, fear, and doubt, we're going to attract people to our reality to fulfill these feelings of low self-esteem. And we also find ways to be disappointed. So we'll look at our team of pretty little pets and go, no one's doing anything, no one's producing. Why does this always happen to me? Well, it happens not only to you, it happens to a large percent of society because we've been traumatized, victimized. We've been neglected and abandoned, rejected in other situations. And most of the world is walking around wounded, not really knowing why they do what they do. This is why those of you on today's Facebook Live, this is very inspiring for you to have a better understanding of cause and effect, the neuroscience of the body, and the mind-body connections, and then a organized way to be able to let go. Letting go doesn't just happen because you just do it. Letting go happens because you're aware of your feelings, you accept them, and rather than repressing them, you accept them. You're actually letting them out. You're letting them surface. And as you're accepting them, you're acknowledging them rather than denying them. And as you acknowledge them, then you can begin to forgive yourself and forgive others for what you've put yourself through or what you encountered through violations and traumas. That's what becomes liberating. Rather than staying in a relationship that completely doesn't serve you and stuffing it and being pissed off and resentful, you're able to come forward and say, this is not good for me anymore. Or a job that you silently suffer. I've seen people silently suffer and hold on to this little tiny paycheck and tell themselves, I can't quit, while they have a boss that's just absolutely traumatizing them. And no, I've got to go back for more for this $3,000. You don't understand. I have to pay my mortgage, my death pledge. Well, this is what so many people hold on to, is they hold on to these feelings of insecurity, low self-esteem, poverty consciousness, and then they hold on to the chronic debt that they hold on to, and all the other situations that gets created by not being good enough. And that's why it's so liberating for you to be able to accept where you are instead of going, I should be further along. Well, if that were the case, you would be there. And you're right where you are because you earned it somehow. So if you're in a dysfunctional situation, you don't deny that, you own it. And then you put into action a plan of action one day at a time to neutralize the situation, to be able to turn the situation so you can create a result in it. And in the process, one day at a time, create a solution to let go and move on so that you are not in trauma bonds, panic patterns, and overwhelmed relationships, careers, jobs, and businesses that don't give you any inspiration. And that's what many people do, is they stay in situations that are uninspiring, and then they expect to attract or create a raise in the pay or attract a superstar to business. Well, it doesn't happen like that, because the emotions you're emanating are the emotions of anxiety, fear, and doubt. And when you let go of this, and I have people go, I hate my job. And I'm like, well, that's not going to serve your employer. That doesn't mean you have to love your job, but have enough respect to task well done. And if you're in a job that you dislike, well, find an exit strategy, but while you're there, do your best to be your best. Because you can't half-ass it over here. You can't hate a job all day and then come home and expect to produce results in a business because you've been in this other energy all afternoon. And then you're going to come home, well, that energy you're in all afternoon exhausts you. And then you come home and the first thing you do is you eat something or drink something and you go, fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow. And that's what unfortunately happens to so many good people. Well, I'm going to let you go this afternoon. Nestor, good to see you. Ashley, good to see you this afternoon. I'll be back here at 6 p.m. Pacific. I'll be hosting this Zoom, Healing and Recovery from Narcissistic Personalities. There's a sign-up page on my website, goldenmastermind.com, and I will be accepting purchases for that. I'm just looking at the purchases right now. I'll be accepting purchases up until 5:45 Pacific, and that's just so we can get you the link that will allow you to dial into the Zoom. It also is recorded, and you'll have access to the recording the next morning. Thank you very much, everyone. Have an outstanding afternoon this afternoon. Great to connect with you. Goodbye, everyone.